before Bob Marley was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, received a Grammy for Lifetime Achievement and the United Nations Peace Medal of the Third World.
Music does carry a political message.
Before the charismatic Rastafarian had his image replicated endlessly on t-shirts, and he became the poster boy for cannabis culture in dorm rooms across the world. Bob Marley's music would be covered by Johnny Cash, the Fugees, Eric Clapton, Bruce Springsteen, and countless others. The ladies' man used the pickup line, "You wanna have my baby?" a little too well, and fathered an estimated 20 children with several different women. My favorite work of all his children's is Damien Marley's Pimpa's Paradise. That song, it got me through my first breakup. True story. Or Robert Marley grew up poor in a rural community of Jamaica where he was raised Catholic by his 18-year-old mother and teased for his light skin and mixed heritage. Early in his teens he decided he would be a singer but found little success at first and went to America with his mom and wife. When he returned to Jamaica, he was drawn to a religious movement that would completely influence his philosophy, lifestyle, and shape him into the icon we know and love today. For a long time, Bob Marley, he was jamming, but his religion, it restricted him from getting some proper treatment for his skin cancer, which resulted in his untimely death on May 11, 1981 at the age of just 36. What's going on, guys? My name is Michael McCrudden, documenting the life of the revolutionary artist Bob Marley leading up to his passing, here for you on Before They Were Dead. Now, I've also talked about other icons like Tupac, Prince, Elvis Presley. Let me know, as always, in the comments down below who you want me to document next. Marley was born in 9 Miles, Jamaica on February 6, 1945. His mother, Sidel Marley, was 18 when she had him. His father, Norval Sinclair, was a white British captain more than 40 years her senior. Yeah. He liked them younger ladies. His father was usually away, but he supported them financially while his mother raised him. Bob attended Stepney Primary School and was actually raised Catholic, but because of his lighter skin, was usually teased and called a white boy. When he was 5, his father sent him to Jamaica's capital to attend school, and that was the last he would ever see of Dad. Soon his family, they joined him in Kingston and lived in an area known as Trenchtown. Why is it called Trenchtown? Well, for starters, it was built over a sewage trench. Plus, the low-income area was home to a whole lot of poverty, crime, and violence. And young Bob learned how to defend himself from bad men real quick. In fact, he was so good at street fighting, he earned for himself the nickname Tough Gong.
I'm Jamaican.
Then one day he decided it was his destiny to become a singer. But Mama didn't like the sound of that and instead got him a job as a welder's apprentice, but his welding career was short-lived when he quit after getting a metal splinter lodged in his eye. Around this time, island music, or ska, its popularity was on the rise. He and his pal Bunny started taking vocal lessons where they learned some basics about harmony, rhythm, and melody. Their teacher introduced the two to Peter Tosh, and together they would become the Wailers. When Bob Marley was just 21, he married his first wife, Rita Anderson, a beautiful Sunday school teacher. He adopted 2 of her children from a previous relationship, and the two, they went to America, joining his mom who had moved to Delaware. There he worked as a lab assistant for DuPont Chemical and at a Chrysler plant where he would drive a forklift just for a few months. But apparently this wasn't the place he saw his future, so young Bob Marley and his wife Rita, they moved back to Jamaica. They then converted to Rastafarianism and started wearing their hair in those signature dreadlocks. Oh, and yes, of course, they would smoke a whole lot of herb. Cannabis is considered a sacrament to Rastas, used for healing and personal enlightenment. Bob Marley started supporting its legalization and preached the positive effects of using it, trying to combat the negative attitude media had towards it then, and kinda still today.
Sacrament, God's pleasure, the weed of wisdom.
Over the next few years, Bob started fathering numerous children with other women, including Miss World 1976, who gave birth to my man, the Grammy Award-winning Damien Marley. Pimpa's Paradise! Sorry, let's get back to Bob Marley. Bob's motto became that of a free love philosophy, and although his website officially acknowledges 11 children, it's estimated he had as many as 20. Yeah, the force is strong with this one. You know where. But But Jamaica was still in the midst of some troubling times, with widespread famine, unemployment, and violence on the rise. This made Marley very socially conscious and gave him a clear purpose for his new music. He hired a new band and called it Bob Marley and the Wailers. The group got a bit of traction as a reggae act and were in London promoting their music. While there, Marley approached Island Records on a whim and asked founder Chris Blackwell to finance him a single. He told him instead, why don't we just make an entire record? Their first album, Catch a Fire, was released when Marley was 28 and it was a global success. Tours of the US and Britain were soon arranged, and though Bob wasn't a star just yet, he was praised by critics. The second album, Burnin', would contain iconic anthems Get Up, Stand Up, and of course, tour they first shared the stage with the massive group Sly and the Family Stone, but after a few performances, well, they were fired. Why? Well, they were getting way more adoration and praise than that of the headliners. Afterwards, the group toured with a relatively unknown Bruce Springsteen, whose cover of I Shot the Sheriff, well, it would later soar to #1 on the charts. And to me, that sounds a little awkward, because these two, they used to share a tour bus together. Bob Marley would be like, "Why are you ripping off my stuff, Bruce? This wasn't for you. Just smoke some herbs, sit back and chill." But Bruce would be like, "I like that song a lot." Marley had gained fans from both reggae and rock audiences, and his record label was very pleased, so they decided to reward him with his Kingston home. Marley, now a star in his home city, turned the building into his office as well, the base of Tuff Gong Studios. Yeah, that name used to get as a kid, well, it all came back, full circle. Not everyone back home was happy about him popularizing Rasta beliefs. Jamaica was still a battleground for warring political parties, and Marley was asked to perform a free concert called Smile Jamaica in December of '76, in hopes of easing the rising tension. 2 days before they were to perform the concert, someone opened fire on his home in hopes of stopping a revolution. His manager was seriously wounded and airlifted, while his wife underwent surgery to remove the bullet. As for Bob, well, he only suffered minor injuries. When Bob Marley and the Wailers appeared on stage just 2 short days later, well, they looked unshaken and they defiantly performed the anthem War. Well, when that all happened, the crowd went wild. Disappeared for a few months following that concert, then popped up in London, where he had produced the legendary album Exodus and Kaya in '77 and '78. Which fused religious and political messages of positivity, encouraging change. They had some of his best known work. With it came commercial success unlike anything the band had experienced. Exodus stayed on the UK charts for 56 consecutive weeks. Yeah, that's over a year. Just in case you're smoking some weed enjoying this video, I thought I would squeeze that in for you. And then you're probably smarter than me right now, so you're like, I didn't need to know that, let's just move on. Then in July of 1977, Bob Marley was diagnosed with skin cancer. The disease was in its early stages and only found in his toe, something that could be easily stopped by amputation, but Marley's religious beliefs, however, went against this, and he refused that treatment. He continued to tour, and although he was more successful than he had ever been, his homeland remained in turmoil. Bob Marley returned to Jamaica 2 years after the assassination attempt was made on him to perform at the One Love Peace concert. This was in 1978. The concert was aimed to bring a day of peace by featuring popular reggae acts and was called the Third World Woodstock. When Marley took the stage, he called upon both leaders of the rival parties to come up, and he proceeded to make history. A day of peace, and boy did Bob Marley deliver. The UN honored him with the Medal of Peace in recognition of his bold actions. Marley's Uprising tour would be even bigger than the last, playing to stadiums of 100,000 people. One of the most notable concerts was the one that celebrated Zimbabwe's Independence Day from Britain. Now, if over 100,000 people watch this video, that really puts things into perspective. I'm like the Bob Marley of YouTube. Maybe like the Brendan Fraser of YouTube. Anyway, let's just get back to this video. Bob was able to get through the first few shows, but his cancer was spreading. His health was deteriorating quickly. His last concert was in Pittsburgh on September of 1980. Bob Marley fought his cancer with experimental methods allowed by his religion for 8 months before deciding to return home to Jamaica. Sadly, on the plane ride over, his vitals dropped so low they had to land in Miami instead, where he was taken to the hospital. Bob Marley passed away on May 11th, 1981 at the age of 36. His final words were to his son Ziggy, "Money can't buy life."
When you mean rich, what you mean?
You have a lot of possessions? A lot of money in the bank?
Position make you rich? I don't have that type of richness. My richness is life, forever.
Now if you want to know more about Bob Marley after his death and how he changed the world, be sure to request it in the comments down below in an After They Were Dead video. As for the rest of the story, well that's most of the story, because this is before they were dead. My name is Michael McCrudden, we make all sorts of videos on here. You might want to browse around, check out another bio. We've done a bunch of The Departed. Also feel free to leave your condolences down below. I'll see you guys in another video. Whoa, almost lost my voice, because we jobbing!